Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Another British volunteer or mercenary, it depends from what angle you look at this person, was actually killed in Ukraine, but not while fighting. He was found dead in a lake with his hands tied behind his back and shot. Well, imagine this happening in Russia. Putin did it. But here, let's see who did this. I have two articles, one from the Russians, volunteer, one from the Ukrainians, volunteer, one from the Russians, mercenary. So we start with the Ukrainians, the New Voice of Ukraine, today, September 9th, 2023. Body of British volunteer killed while fighting in Ukraine was found in water, hands bound. So the volunteer was killed while fighting in Ukraine. Okay, well, he was fighting in Ukraine and he fought with his hands behind his back. The body of 31-year-old British volunteer Jordan Chadwick, who had been fighting with the International Legion in Ukraine, was discovered in a body of water with his hands bound behind his back, UK media have reported for the first time. The UK Foreign Ministry later confirmed that British national's death to Sky News on September 9, stating, and I'm quoting, "We are providing assistance to the family of the British citizens who died in Ukraine and are in contact with local authorities." End quote. Chadwick's death was initially reported on June 26, and his body was repatriated to his homeland on August 7th. Further details about the circumstances of this death have not been disclosed at this time, and it has not been specified where precisely the body was found or whether this occurred in a conflict area. Okay? So it's going to be an investigation and we find out what's going on. Jordan Chadwick, age 31, hailed from the town of Burnley in Lancashire, whatever, Lancashire, something. Located in the northwest of England. He served in the Scots Guards in the British Army from 2011 to 2015, and in 2022, amid Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine, he joined the International Legion to defend Ukraine. Anyway, so let's go to the Russians and see what they lie, okay? Sputnik. UK, quote-unquote, hired gun in Ukraine found dead in pond, hands tied behind back. And I'm quoting, meat grinder that is Ukraine's botched summer counteroffensive has resulted in over 43,000 troops killed. To date, Russian Ministry of Defense has estimated. I just made a video a minute ago, they said about 60,000. I know, 20,000 in a day. Amid the overflow of fighting-age men from the country, Kiev is suffering growing difficulties recruiting more conscripts and accordingly ramping up its recruitment of mercenaries. A British man who went to Ukraine in early October 2022 to fight on the side of Kiev regime as a mercenary, not a volunteer, has been found dead, according to a UK media report. Now let's see. They tell us everything? No. According to beep, the death occurred under unknown circumstances. All right, his body was reportedly discovered in Ukraine floating in a body of water with his hands tied behind his back. The Ukrainian International Legion repatriated his remains. Tralak will be an inquiry into the causes of his death. He says the report comes hot on the heels of news that British mercenary Sam Newey, who fought on the side of the Ukrainian armed forces, was killed in a mortar attack. The student from Birmingham with no military experience was reportedly a member of a foreign volunteer squad known as the Dark Angels, fighting for the Kiev regime. His death was confirmed by his brother in August, according to the British newspaper. Another mercenary, American Jericho Sky Magellan, aka Jericho Walker, was also recently wiped out in a zone in the zone of the special military operation he fought in the ranks of the notorious International Legion. All right, higher mercenary has been pop. Okay, we do not know. We do not know exactly. Obviously, they have to put together the narrative for these guys, and we find out. I mean, do you think that the Ukrainians who found him, they don't know if that pond or lake or body of water is in their territory or it's in the Russian occupied territory? Now, if it's an occupied territory, they would have said, we liberated it and that's how we found this guy. So how this guy ended up in the Ukrainian hands? Unless he just he died on their side of the, how should I put it, turf. Doesn't make sense. I didn't hear anything about the Russians finding the guy and repatriating it. I heard Ukrainians finding him and repatriating him. Therefore, they found it on their territory. So what's the I don't know, the unknown here? So far, I think he was found by the Ukrainians on Ukrainian territory. Otherwise, they would have said, we found him on a newly liberated parts, and they didn't mention that. It wouldn't have been hard to give that information, don't you think? They would have immediately said, no, it was in the process of liberating people that don't want to liberate it and getting back the territories that were given to us some time ago. Then we found this guy. Obviously, it was done by the Russians. Didn't hear anything yet, and he died what, last month? So it's been about at least 2 weeks. Let's put it this way, and they did not know where they found him. They found him in a lake, in a pond, but can you tell us the coordinates? We can look for it. All right, my friends, that's for me. It's 99% already just by reading this garbage. The guy was found by the Ukrainians on the Ukrainian side with his hands behind his back. The Russians captured him on the Ukrainian territory, on the Ukrainian controlled territory. I don't think so. And they didn't say anything about, hey, while we were liberating, we found it. That would have been the first thing they would have said, but they didn't. Probably they will come in about a week, so they avoid any problems with the British. I'm guessing. Don't you think they would have been able to tell us it was the lake number, I don't know, 25 Black Swan Lake or something, or I don't know, Tchaikovsky Lake? Do you think they would not have come with Pyotr Tchaikovsky? The Black Swan or something? Come on, Swan Lake, please. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.